I work with a lot of people in recovery, especially in a lot of people go to 12-step fellowships, right? For some reason, a lot of those people have got into A Course in Miracles.
Yeah,
and that's a channeling cult,
right?
Basically, that's a book written by back in the 70s. There was a woman called. She was a psychologist. I think she was in Columbia University. I'm not sure.
Really?
She was a New Yorker.
Okay.
And she was a female, obviously. Her name was Helen. Helen, I think it's Schuckman, and she was Jewish. She was a what?
I just knowing it. Just keep going.
I don't know how to pronounce the name.
It's fine.
I've only ever seen it written. I think it's Schucman. Anyway, she was a psychologist, and she was Jewish. And some out of the clear blue sky, she suddenly gets into channeling, and she gets into automatic writing, and boom, this thing shows up and says, "I'm Jesus."
Yeah.
You're going to write a book. Take out a pad. Take out a pen. Start writing. And she goes, "Yes, Jesus."
That's why I'm laughing, because when you said her last name, I laughed because she sounds like a Jew.
Yeah.
So she's Jewish.
She's Jewish, writing for Jesus.
And she's writing for Jesus. Yeah. It's just kind of funny.
So Jesus is writing a book for this woman. And he writes this Course in Miracles. And these people, now they follow this book and they do this thing every single day. And it's all these positive affirmations. Lo and behold, it's all non-duality. It's law of attraction.
Yeah. It's law of attraction type stuff.
Just will things into existence.
Manifestation
And all of that stuff. Anything that takes you away from relying upon God and relying upon you, because after all, you are God.
Yeah, all these people, it all comes back to you being God.
It's all the same thing.
That's what it is.
So do I think this woman made this up? No, I don't think she made it up. I think she was actually hearing the voice. It wasn't Jesus, I will tell you that.
You know what? I think that, like I said before, I think there's a fine line between what people make up and what people actually invite in, because I think in making some of this up, you begin to invite things in.
Right.
I mean, we talk about thoughts all the time. Where do thoughts even come from?
You want to get into that?
Well, it's related. We don't have to get into it, but it's like, if you're inviting dark, crazy thoughts, you could call that making something up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you make it up, or did you invite something to give you something crazy?
You didn't make it up.
You know what I mean?
You don't make it up.
What does making something up even mean? What does making something up even mean?
Well, not knowing the source. How's that?
I know. So if you don't know the source, how can you claim to have invented it?
You don't. You say something stupid like Jesus invented it.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Or Ramtha.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm saying that, she could be making up that Jesus told her this.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But who gave her the idea to say that Jesus told her to say something? That she's not even making that up. That's coming from everything comes from somewhere. Everything comes from somewhere.
That is correct.
So there's this.
She wound up a bit in a bad way, by the way. She wound up totally this thing that gave her these ideas to write this down to spread out through the world would not even let her read her own writing.
Oh, really?
Wouldn't let her do it.
So she became like a slave to this thing.
She became like a slave to this thing that was telling her to write it.
Yeah.
Wrote it, never read it, and she wound up like really super like Linda Blair style, spewing obscenities and confined to bed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She wound up. I read the account from some priest that tried to take care of her and tried to, I guess,
fix her,
exercise her.
Yeah.
Priests don't. They think they do that well. They don't do it very well. And it didn't work, and she wound up dead.
So why would anybody?
Basically, she got possessed by an evil demon. And it wrote a book through her, distributed it all throughout the world, and then killed her.
So why would anybody follow any of her advice?
Because they ignore the part where it said that it was Jesus. If they knew that, because it's got all these words.
No, I think that's what appeals to them, probably.
No, I don't think. Right? I don't think a lot of people that I speak with don't realize that that's how it happened. Yeah, they don't know that.
Yeah, but did they know she died?
No, the story is not really highly publicized. They just see these wonderful profundities.
It's crazy.
It makes them feel so good that they continue with it. They go, "Oh, it's so uplifting. It's so wonderful." It's all law of attraction stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. And you can't get them out of it a lot of the time because, I could tell you stories like
where does Marianne
spooky.
Where does Marianne Williamson come in with this? Isn't she related to this stuff somehow?
Well, she just I don't know that much about her actually, except I saw her in a couple of debates.
She keeps running for president. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a follower, and then she like became a coach of it. She's like
a Course in Miracles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like the Pope of that. It's a cult.
She's the Pope of A Course in Miracles, right?
Yeah, it's a cult.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all that stuff, and they use those words. They use words like forgiveness, and non-judgmental, all that stuff that sounds very Christian.
Yeah.
So it has an appeal to Christians who are like put off by the churches,
right?
Because the churches have screwed up. Basically, the churches have screwed up Christianity, and they're fed up with that stuff, with the hypocrisy and everything else that they see. So they hear somebody giving those same words, and they light up to it.
Yeah.
And that person doesn't seem like a hypocrite. Right. So they go with it, and it's a feel good thing. It's basically self hypnosis.
But they always get you with getting you to think that you are God.
It always comes back to that law of attraction, non-duality.
Always goes there.
Yep,
always goes there.
And the people that I've worked with who have gotten into that are in bad shape.
Yeah,
none of them wind up well.
Right.
It makes them go mad because it's this syncretic. It's like riding two horses at one time. One of them goes to the non-duality stuff, but they came there being Christian to begin with.
Yeah.
So they have that Christian DNA. I'm calling it Christian, but whatever Christ had, that spiritual DNA that's connected to God, they have that within them. They have duality. They have monotheism.
Yeah.
Monotheism is like spiritually, genetically, projected into us. I mean, we're born with it. And this conflicts with that, but it sounds so good. It makes them feel so good. And they get this conflict that goes on, and they just cannot reconcile it. It makes them go mad. It drives people mad. Yeah. They never get over their anger. They never get free of anger. They never get over their resentment. They never lose their fears, and they just keep going and going, and hoping that it'll get better, hoping it'll get better. That's what people in AA do that too. They don't go for the whole AA program, which would work if they would go through it all.
Yeah.
They do an inventory and all that sort of stuff. And they start making amends to people, but then they don't go to the part where they connect with God. And to keep that connection going.
Maintain a relationship.
Maintain the relationship and maintain that where God is taking care of them. They've turned their life and their will over to God. And now He takes care of them.
Right. They turn their life and their will over to AA is what they do.
Well, a lot of them do that,
yeah, right?
Well, people do it with churches, too. So many people in AA have turned AA into a church.
Right.
And that's why people...
Meeting makers make it.
Meeting makers make it. People...
yeah.
And it's a wonderful idea. Believe me, it works if they would only go through it. But the nice thing the same thing with Scripture. The beautiful thing about Scripture is that it frees you from the Scripture.
Yeah.
You don't need it anymore.
Right.
Same thing with AA has their own, they have a big book that they go through this codified version. It's basically Judeo-Christianity codified specifically for alcoholics. They go through this process. They come out awake, aware, God conscious, praying and meditating for the rest of their lives and being helpful to other people.
Right.
And then what happens?
Being thankful to God.
Yes, they have what they call gratitude. And it's to God
That's good.
For saving them from alcoholism. But also it's not just not drinking. It's about being connected with God.
Your whole life.
Having your intuition remotivate your conscience.
Yeah.
You're able to live from that on.
Right.
Not from the Bible or the big book or, the 12 steps.
Or Ramtha.
Or Muku, whatever that. Mufu, sorry.
Do not dishonor her name. You think Mufu sounds like an Italian slur?
Mufu.
All right.
I'm the only non-Italian in our household.
That's true.
Yeah. So I better watch it.
Yeah.